What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Movie Dash podcast brought to you by Lauya.net, a podcast where we review movies, TV series, and round up the week with a discussion on an iron hot topic in the world of cinema. I'm Dashran, and joining me today to discuss one of this week's hot topic is Samuel Lim. What's up, man?
As always, I'm glad to be here.
Yes, are you excited for this topic?
Release the Snyder Cut!
Yes. Pretty much that's what we'll be talking about. The whole Snyder Cut movement. What is it about? What on earth is it? We're just trying to, go through our own process of this whole, frankly, fascinating and baffling movement that have come out since the release of Justice League.
Yeah.
So, basically, the whole Snyder Cut, let's go back to Justice League, right? So we have to go back to Justice League. Midway through production of Justice League, and at that point, first of all, in Warner Brothers, there was a lot of messy behind the scenes stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like executives kept
Tampering with it.
Yeah, there was a lot of tampering. Like even David Ayer, the director of Suicide Squad, has come on and talked about it. Like all the executives kept changing. There was a lot of there wasn't like this
cohesive vision.
like what Kevin Feige made at Marvel.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of things going on, and Justice League was in the midst of production, and then Zack Snyder, who basically made Man of Steel, who made Batman v Superman, and who also
directed a good chunk.
Directed a good chunk of Justice League. He had to step away to deal with a personal tragedy.
Yeah.
And while that was really sad, we also understood the decision, why he had to make the decision. And then Warner Brothers brought in Joss Whedon to sort of basically, steer the ship all the way back to the finish line, right? But then we started getting news that the Snyder Cut was unwatchable and all these kind of things that we'll really dig into all of that as we go along. But now, what you saw in the cinema a few years ago, the Joss Whedon reconstructed theatrical version of Justice League.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the movie?
Oh my goodness. The script is written on one-liners. You can't write a script on one-liners. My man, I don't know what I'm doing. I just push things. My turn. These are not lines that human beings say. No one says these lines. And the action was fun, I guess, and the whole idea of coming together in the Justice League, just joining forces, it felt rushed, it felt sloppy. There were some things that were funny, but they were all unironic. They were all ironic. Like, the only unironic thing I laughed about was, like, I don't know, one or two Ezra Miller scenes.
Okay, so
wow.
I agree with you completely, but I think I sort of enjoyed it for that in a way. So when I watched the Justice League, when I walked into Justice League, right, I did not have much expectations at all because of all the behind the scenes news that have come out and all that kind of stuff. And also because of the state of DC at that point. Like with Man of Steel was polarizing. Suicide Squad was a complete mess that failed to hit the mark at the box office. Batman v Superman, same story. So at that point, I was kind of like, okay, DC has no idea what they're doing at this point. They're sort of just throwing shit at the wall.
And see what sticks.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, let's just go and watch what this Justice League is about. And to me, it was better than expected because given that the mess and the shit that they were all stuck in, I felt that Joss Whedon sort of, made this very, very simplistic movie that worked on a very surface level fun. It was just like
it's
fun,
palatable.
Palatable, fun action film, loads of one-liners, great characters with lots of personality and horrible CG and all that. But what the film left me with was, okay, now that this era is just gone, we had to make Justice League. We made Justice League. you love the characters, now let's move forward.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers has moved forward. Wonder Woman, while it came out in the before Justice League,
It's more of a pre-Justice League film, in fact.
yeah,
post-Justice League.
Yes,
film,
it is more of a post Justice League film in the sense that, you know, like production started after Justice League, and like they like Patty Jenkins and all were doing their own thing, you know, and they did a fantastic job. And then Aquaman, enjoyable film, great numbers at the box office.
Yeah.
Shazam, very enjoyable film, not a big box office blockbuster type of film, but everyone who watched it really enjoyed it. And since then, you know, you got Joker, which is not part of the DCU, but it's also a DC.
It's under the
film.
DC Black Label.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I mean, we don't have to talk anymore about that. You know, fantastic critical reception, great numbers at the box office.
It is one of the greatest comic book films of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, why is there, now that Warner Brothers themselves have moved on, why is there still a demand for this Snyder Cut? And honestly, where did it all come from?
Oh boy, the same place where everything on the everything bad on the internet comes from. It comes from nerds. I'm sorry. It came from a bunch of people yelling about like, this new Justice League, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's just shallow and pandry, and it's played by Joss Whedon. You know, we wanted something more. We wanted something grand and epic, and this is what we got. And then Zack Snyder picked up on it and went like, yeah, you know, films. He started going like, you know, the film's okay. Then you're like, no. I feel like if you did it, maybe it could have been better. Then Schneider, you know, he thought it was hot shit. So it's like, you know, I guess I could have done a few things better than.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Like, why specifically? Because you see, Suicide Squad was a mess. Also,
Yeah.
like it's even Suicide Squad's widely publicized that basically Warner Brothers took David Ayer's footage, gave it to a company that makes trailers and music videos, and said, you stitch the shit up however you like. Right? It didn't. But there's no release the Ayer cut movement.
Yeah.
So is there like this Venn diagram of hardcore DC fans who are also hardcore Snyder fans, and they sort of overlap in this way, and this group. I don't mean this as an insult, as an insult or anything, because you know, like, I'm just trying to understand it. You know, from a it's just so fascinating. Like, is there like this group that just, you know, they just want Zack Snyder's vision to come to life?
Yeah, I actually met a few Snyder Cut people, and I actually got a chance to talk to them. And why they actually like Justice League to some degree was very strange, because they were like, dude, did you see the Green Lantern ring that flew in? I'm like, yeah, but it's a bad movie. Yeah. Dude, did you see that the old gods from the sphere of gods in like the DC multiverse stepped down to fight for like this earth against the forces of apocalypse? I was like, yeah, but it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
Then you're like, dude, the new gods of New Genesis, Orion and Father and all of them stepped in to join the fray. Isn't that great? It's still a bad movie. So, but the Snyder Cut apparently promises there's apparently like these big unreasonable promises where it said like, it talked about the new gods, it talked about the Green Lantern, it talked about the old gods, it talked about Iris West. Where I go like, feasibly, you cannot do all those things in a single movie.
Yes, and that's the fascinating thing, right? Because yes, okay, if let's say the DC was just going downhill, you know, if let's say Wonder Woman was crap and Aquaman was crap and everything that has come out since is just utter rubbish, I can feel that desire, you know, bring back Zack Snyder. He will take back the DCU to the glory days or whatever.
The glory days.
You know, but everything has been good. So why is there still an obsession? And also, how does anyone know that the Snyder Cut is going to be great? That's the question, right? Because for example, like, there's some people who come up to me and said, look at Batman v Superman's extended cut.
Yeah.
That's bloody brilliant. I'm like, okay, while I do like it more than the theatrical
sure.
version because it did
Flesh out
certain things, and like certain plot holes are not plot holes anymore, but still there's still a lot of issues with it. It's like, the whole treatment of Doomsday wasn't really explained. Like, dude, that's not what Doomsday is supposed to be. And like it's just not. He was just some monster screaming and like
you just
destroying
threw
buildings.
Zod in a pool and then
And he
you made
became
a rock
Doomsday.
monster.
Yeah, and like why the need to shoehorn in a Wonder Woman in it? Although she did pretty much kicked ass and also stole the show, but you could have had a better build up to it. Why have Batman fight Superman so early on in the first place? I mean, not to compare Marvel to DC, because honestly, as in terms of characters, I do love DC characters more, but we have to make this comparison because look how many years it took, how many bricks it took before we finally got Iron Man versus Captain America, and how emotionally powerful those moments were in Civil War compared to Batman v Superman, where they were just fighting because they are both emo and they hate each other without much of the nuanced psychological exploration.
Yeah, I think the problem with this franchise, well, most of its franchise, I think, is it conflates symbolic meaning with depth. For example, what Superman is supposed to represent, not because it's shown, but because you're told. He's told he's supposed to be a messianic figure that's supposed to talk about this like perfect ideal above man, but Batman is supposed to represent like the human spirit. So this clash, if you pitched it merely in a philosophical and ideological sense, people would go, wow, that's actually a really good idea, but the execution is garbage.
Yes, and the thing is, a lot of this execution, right, I wouldn't even blame it 100% on Zack Snyder, because the visuals, which is Zack Snyder's forte as a director, he is a visual director, is fantastic, but the script is so weak. And whether Zack Snyder himself tampered with the script, or whether he's just directing it based on what the scriptwriter gave, or whether it's execs messing around, the scripts don't work, at least in the early DC movies. So now the thing is, like, even the Batman v Superman extended edition wasn't a masterpiece or anything like that, at least where both of us are sitting from. Some of y'all might think, and that's okay, that's cool, but so how do you know the Justice League Snyder Cut is even going to be good? And here's what's most fascinating, right? When the whole Snyder Cut movement started after the release of Justice League, maybe like a month after or 2 months after, or immediately after, whatever it may be, this whole Snyder Cut was just like this mythical thing, right? So you had a group of vocal minorities who were screaming, release the Snyder Cut, and at that time it seemed like they were just screaming into the ether, right? Like, okay, like, I mean, they are very passionate about it, that's great.
Yeah, good for you, man.
So to a lot of us, it felt like just this fantasy, right? Like it's this fan fantasy of wanting to see a movie that is not even in existence. But then something interesting happened.
I love that it's not even in existence.
I mean, as far as we know at that time, right?
Yeah, sure.
And then something weird and interesting happened, which is Zack Snyder himself started, saying release the Snyder Cut. He started talking about the Snyder Cut. He started releasing concept arts. He started answering people on social media, and when they asked him, is the Snyder Cut real? He would say yes. And not only that, when fans, and there are some fans who are so passionate about it, I've read that, they will tweet, or they will like, there's this specific social media platform that Snyder uses, which I can't remember the name, where they talk to him and they say, man, people are saying the Snyder Cut doesn't exist. You are my only hope, Zack Snyder. What do we do? And Snyder's response would be, never lose hope. It's coming, and these kind of things. And you're like, okay, what is Zack Snyder? What is the end game for Zack Snyder? Because he is a talented director who can just go and make any other film he wants to.
Exactly.
And so why is he, and why did he at that time, if he was so passionate about the project to the point of not wanting to let go of it. Why didn't he say anything at that time? I know maybe it could be like contractual obligations and all that.
yeah.
I don't know, but it's just fascinating, don't you think?
Yeah, I think Zack Snyder bought into his own hype,
Okay.
which is something you should never do. Like, I'm sure he fell down in the dumps because, what was Justice League is supposed to be your coup d'etat. It's sorry, not coup d'etat. Your creme de la creme.
Yes.
It's your touching glory that you
Yes.
lift up and you go, aha, this is my trophy.
Yep.
But for him, it's kind of just like a sour note he left on, and the whole thing that's attributed to his name is just pretty bad. So I think he's looking for a slightly more romanticized version of it, and instead of dealing with failure, I think he decided, if I could say, he just decided to retreat back into the cult niches of the online sphere to look
Yeah.
for support there, to lick his wounds so that he could feel better about himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting at too. Because, but here's what's very, very interesting, right? Because that's what I thought too. I'm like, you're a talented director. Why do you keep trying to appeal, or I don't know if even appeal is the right word, like why do you keep targeting this niche group, and like what's your sudden obsession with it and all that? But then recently, a few weeks ago, because again, after months and months, this thing Snyder Cut started to become like this mythical thing again, where it's just Zack Snyder and his group of fans talking to each other about it, which is all good and fair. But then a couple of weeks ago, maybe like a month ago, the cast of Justice League, which is Gal Gadot,
Ezra
like
Miller.
Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher, and all of them started tweeting, "Release the Snyder Cut," and I'm like, "What Snyder Cut? What on earth is going on?" So if all the cast is talking about it, then it must be real. I guess.
Sure.
I don't know, like because why? Because it's not because when everyone is talking about it, like everyone involved, when Jason Momoa has said, "I've seen the Snyder Cut and it's awesome," then okay. I mean, like, if a lot of people are talking about it, then it probably exists. But again, what was the end game? Because a lot of people were speculating that, okay, maybe this is a marketing ploy because the Snyder Cut is finally coming and they're going to debut it on HBO Max, which is this HBO's new streaming platform. But then, according to like the Hollywood Reporter and all these things, they talk to people at HBO, and those people have said, no, we don't have any plans for the Justice League Snyder Cut on HBO Max. So where is this going? Because over the past couple of weeks, suddenly all the actors didn't say anything anymore.
Wait, what if this whole thing is just done to spite the executives? I'm sure the executives over there in the marketing department is like, "You piece of what are you playing at, Schneider?" He's
Yeah.
like, "You heard the people. They want the Schneider Cut. And
Yes.
my actors want the Schneider Cut. You thought you could tamper with my Justice League movie, make it hee-haw funny. But guess what? Now everyone wants my Schneider Cut." You're like, "Stop this, Zach. Stop it now. There's only one way to stop it. And you know what it is. Release the Schneider Cut." And I imagine the exec now has a vein popping in his forehead yelling, "There is no Schneider Cut. I can't release what doesn't exist."
Yeah, because I honestly, like, this whole thing has just been so fascinating to me, right? Okay, so now that we've talked about it and like maybe it exists, maybe it's coming out, maybe it's not. Now I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
If the Zack, let's just hypothetically,
Sure.
let's say it's in existence, it's in a vault somewhere. All you have to do is push a button to get it out and release it into the public.
It's a retina scanner there too. Yeah.
Would you do it? Do you want to watch the Snyder Cut?
I don't know. Do I want to see a goat with two heads? Sure. Out of some morbid curiosity. Do I want to see Siamese twins? Yeah, I click on it just to see and go like, oh, it's kind of messed up. But I kind of want to see it. I can't take my eyes off it. So yes, I would really want to watch the Snyder Cut, but it's not in the way people think I might want to watch it.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm in total agreement with you there because, yes, do I want to watch it? Or if it's out, will I watch it? Hell yes, because I want to know if, what were people clamoring for?
Yeah.
And I'm more than ready to, admit that I was completely wrong a lot of the times if the movie turns out to be this absolute masterpiece or piece of cinema or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm hoping like I've never gone to a movie and I hope this is a bad movie.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. I
Yeah.
want it to be good. But this whole thing is oh man, like honestly, like Warner Brothers executives, if you're listening to this, just release the damn Snyder Cut already.
Yeah, or make a Snyder Cut.
Yeah, just make one and release it.
Yeah.
Because this has been going on for too long and nobody knows what the hell is actually going on. Man, yeah. So those are pretty much our thoughts.
If I could just add one thing.
Okay.
I just want
yes.
if Zack Snyder, if you're listening to this, please cut this shit and just do what everyone actually wants and make another Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole movie, because I would pay to see that.
Yes.
Those owl movies were good. Give me my owl movie, man. I don't want your Snyder Cut.
Hell yeah, man. Just make another movie or talented director.
Yeah, you are.
And those are pretty much our thoughts on the whole release the Snyder Cut movements. Now it's time for your take. Let us know what you think by hitting us up on @TheMovieDash on Twitter. Also, if you like our podcast, be sure to subscribe to Movie Dash on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. This podcast will also be available on YouTube, though this week it'll just be an audio-only version. And if you'd like to follow us both on social media, you can follow Samuel at
Samling Let Go at Instagram.
and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @DashTalksMovies. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.